What's up, everybody? So season 3 is around the corner. We're just about, what, 1.5 weeks out? So 1 week and 2 days away from the Elena patch and the season 3 patch. And we've seen tons of videos. People have talked about what they kind of want changed in season 3. And now it's my turn to do it. So I'm going to talk about what I want to see changed in season 3. Then also what things I want to see them keep intact. Things I don't want changed in season 3. Things that I'm really happy about. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button. You guys know what to do. First, we're going to start with some character-specific changes, which I'm going to focus less on because, I don't think character-specific changes are too interesting. I'm going to focus more on system changes, but right now, let's talk about the character that I know everybody hates, and that's Mai. This the fan, this needs to be changed. So what I would like to see is if you perfect parry this fan, I think it shouldn't bounce if you perfect parry it. That's what I would like to see changed. I don't mind Mai having strong moves. I think strong moves are fun. They keep the game a little bit, Street Fighter 6-y. But I think you should get rewarded more if you get a perfect parry on this. Like I said, I don't mind strong moves, but as long as you have defensive options to shut down strong moves, then I think strong moves are okay. But if you don't have defensive options to shut down strong moves, then it just becomes like brain dead. And people get really mad. Like, oh, this character is stupid. You only need one brain cell, because the defensive mechanics don't really give you anything to deal with it. Like, the amount of effort you have to put into this is way less than the amount of effort that the person defending has to put in. And I typically don't like that in fighting games. I think when you have a defensive option, you should be able to do something to kind of like counter your opponent, not just kind of be in a slightly less bad situation. Another thing I want to see changed is this fan. There's this bug where if you do this, you actually lose drive meter even if you parry it. And I don't like that. I don't want it to be like that. I don't think it should be that way at all. You shouldn't lose drive meter for parrying this thing. So I want to see that kind of reworked. I want to see that. And then also something I want to see with Mai, I want to see them give her different ways to combo into level 1. I'm sure you guys are going to hate me for this, giving her more options. But I don't know, I just feel like they could do so much with this. And maybe even, instead of making this a default move, I think this should be kind of like locked behind her level 1. Just to give her like a level up, because she goes from like being a really, really good character with this to being like a ridiculous character with this. I don't know, I just feel like when she's in this powered up state, she just becomes even better than she already was. She's kind of like anti-Jamie. Like, Jamie's a crap character in the beginning, and then when he gets 4 drinks, he's really good. This character is like really good, and then she becomes like super good with the power up. So I just would like to see them give Mai some things to kind of like, give her actually something to do, something more worth getting into that level 1, rather than just kind of like running amok, doing this stuff, drive rushing mid-screen, and then kind of just running pressure. And then if she gets her level 1, now she has more damage and everything like that. So I would like to see that changed with Mai. Some other things. Oh, you know what? Okay, this isn't going to be character specific. Something I think they should add to the game, which I think would not hurt the game whatsoever. And this is more for like intermediate-ish level players. You know when you get knocked down in the corner, and your opponent hits you with a melee attack, and you try to time your Shoryuken, but like something like this happens to you? That. You kind of mistime it just a little bit, and you end up getting counter hit because the wake up timing is so like strict in this game. I think they should do something like SNK does with like KOF and City of the Wolves, where they give you just a little bit more of like a button hold buffer when you get up, only when you're getting up out of knockdown. This way, instead of having like really like meticulously time your wake up reversal, you can just kind of like hold the button down for a couple of frames, and as long as you're generally within the window, it'll come out, but only on wake up, because that can mess up combos if it happens in neutral. But I think that would be a nice like healthy change, especially for like lower level players, because then you could just go like this, hold that down, and instead of getting counter hit, you'd actually get a DP or like a level 1 or level 2 or level 3. Like, I mean, it works that way for drive impact, right? Like, I'm just holding forward plus this. So it's not like they can't do it within the system. Like, look, I'm holding forward plus hard punch, hard kick. So it works with drive reversal, so I don't see why they can't do it with normal special moves, like OD moves, or supers. On the same note, I want them to fix the input reader. It's just been going on for way too long. The fact that doing like forward, quarter circle forward gives you like a Shoryuken, you have to have a huge gap in between forward and quarter circle forward in order to get a Hadoken. And it's bad in combos, it's bad when you're walking, it can make things really difficult. I don't think it needs to be this funky. Also, in this kind of a situation, this. You guys know what I'm talking about? This thing? the funky crouch DPs when it scoops under them. I think they should fix the input reader, or at least the way the character reacts, that you don't get that scoop under as often. Obviously, it's important to time your DP properly. If you do it too soon, you know, you should be getting that. But then there's also sometimes where just like, you'll get a jab out of this. See, like there, I inputted it properly. The timing was right. But for some reason, I didn't get a DP and I just got a jab. So the fact that you might get a DP that scoops under, or the fact that you might get a jab that ends up getting counter hit, makes it really scary to try to go for an anti-air DP in that situation. And it basically just leaves you with, you have to react with a crosscut DP, which is fine, but I don't know. It just feels like one of those, it's like problem on top of problem, right? You have like the forward walk Hadoken, which sometimes becomes a DP and screws you up in neutral. Then you have like the weird time DP, and then you have like that thing where your opponent knocks you down in the corner and you don't get the reversal that you want. It's just like three things that makes the game feel very like unintuitive to play, and it kind of feels like you're wrestling with the game sometimes. And I think that's one thing fighting games should never do. It should never make you feel like you're fighting with the game engine to get your inputs. I think that really pulls you out of the whole game experience, and those kind of losses, or when you take damage from those things, I think that's the most frustrating way to lose. When you know you actually input the right thing, but because the input reader is sloppy, you got something that you didn't want. I don't know, man. I think like those have to be the worst losses. I know there's lots of other character-specific instances of those things happening, but those are just three right off the bat that I would like to see them fix that I think would be much better. I know there are other characters, like Jury has some weird stuff with her anti-airs too, but basically anything that falls into those categories of like weird input reading things, I would like to see changed. I'm not going to go through the whole cast, it's going to take too long, but I think that needs to be changed for Season 3. It'd be a great quality of life update. Some other things. Two things with Akuma. This being, like... This needs to be more minus. The fact that I can do it from this close and still be +1, like, I'm 0 on this. This is what I would call, like, a really, really bad dive kick. This is not a good dive kick. This spacing, you're not even thinking about spacing it. This is like a sloppy dive kick. If Cammy does this, she's not going to be plus. Any other character, they're not going to be plus. I don't know why Akuma gets to be plus or even 0 with such a sloppy dive kick when he has this as his plus on guard move. So I would like to see that changed. I would like it so that Akuma has to kind of space it a little bit better. I don't mind him getting plus frames. I just don't want him to get like 0 on block for doing like the worst dive kick in the world. That's what I would like to see change. Even this, like, why is this +1 at this range? Are you kidding me? +1? That should change. That and OD Adamant Flame being only -3 on block, I think is like a war crime in this game, right? Like, this is already hit confirmable. If Standing Hard Punch wasn't hit confirmable, I could kind of maybe see this being okay. But because this has such a long cancel window, you shouldn't really be like doing this on block anyways. Good players can hit confirm this. Alright, so I would like to see that change too. Other than that, I don't know. I'm a little biased. I'm like the anti-Broski, because I know Broski hates this character, but I think Akuma's like the coolest character ever in fighting games. Let this character be good. I love this guy. I think he's just cool. So, but I'm totally biased for that, but yeah. Some other things I would like to see changed. I'm not going to go through every character, just things that I want to see with certain characters, things that stick out to me as being strange. I think Mbison has kind of fallen off a little bit in terms of the top tiers. Like, he's still a really, really good character, but like people aren't really winning first place, second place at major tournaments with him anymore. I think some of his matchups are a little bit lopsided. The fact that his anti-air is kind of hard to do kind of makes him kind of rough to play. We've seen him fall off just a little tiny bit. He's not like dominating tournaments right now. But one thing I would like to see change with this character, it's not a nerf, it's not a buff. I would like to see them do something more interesting with this bomb stuff. It would be so cool if you could choose to, like, I don't know, manually make the bomb explode rather than just like this set timer that always goes off, or doing like any move, any like cycle move to make it explode whenever he wants. It just feels really uninteresting to me. It just, like, I don't know, it just feels like there could be so much more they could do with it to make it more of an interesting tool rather than just like, Herbert, I'm gonna go like there, keep my turn kind of thing. I don't know, it just doesn't feel very interesting. So I don't know, just change something with that. Like I said, I don't want it to be a nerf or a buff. I don't really care about the strength of it. I just want them to make it more interesting. I think it's a really missed opportunity with this character. Some other things I would like to see changed. I mean, obviously Jinrai. I'm not even going to go into training mode and show you guys. We've heard this a million times before, Jinrai. All right, I want that changed. Other things that stick out in my mind is things I would like to see changed. What else bothers me? Rashid, I think they got to give this character his level 2. I've been saying this since Street Fighter V. Like, I never really played Street Fighter V, but I watched it. You guys know what I'm going to say. This is level 2. I think it should disappear if he gets hit. That's it. I'm not going to really expand on it too much more. I think it's ridiculous that if he dashes at you in the corner and you read that he's going to throw you and you kind of like jab to stop him, and then the tornado hits you after, he still gets to combo you even though he got hit. I think that's just ridiculous. It just, like I said, kind of the same thing with Mai. I think one of my big pet peeves in fighting games is when the person attacking doesn't have to think at all and the person defending has to think incredibly difficult, and even if you make the right read, you still lose. Or you're in a terrible position, even though you went for something difficult and it was right. So that's a big pet peeve of mine, and I think having that tornado disappear when Rashid gets hit would be a fair change to this character. I know all the Rashid mains are probably going to be crying, being like, that's not fair, he needs it, but like, in your heart of hearts, you know it's got to go. I think they're going to nerf Zangief just because everybody in Japan hates this character so much. I don't think he's going to survive the way he is. I'm going to leave that one alone because I don't want to jinx it for all the Zangief players. All right, you guys got lucky on this one. I want to see punish counter on Drive Rush. Also, I don't know how I feel about this one in terms of balance. I know some people say you shouldn't be able to do special moves out of Drive Rush. And I think the big example that everyone kind of points towards is Akuma doing Drive Rush into Adamant Flame. You do that. I don't know. I think if you added the punish counter to Drive Rush, it would probably be enough. I think removing special moves from Drive Rush would make the game a lot less fun for a lot of people. And I'm not just talking about top level, like top 8 kind of thing. I'm just talking about like overall how the game feels. I think being able to do special moves out of Drive Rush is fun. And it's one of the things that's kind of like important to Street Fighter 6. So I wouldn't feel comfortable taking that away from the game. I know balance is really tricky, and trying to think about how you would balance Street Fighter like 6 Season 3 is something that people put a lot of thought into. But more than just balance, I think it's really important to think about fun. Because if only like the best 100 players in the world are playing this game and everybody below that thinks the game isn't fun, then the game dies, right? I think it's easy to get lost in the thinking about really strongly like top level play. I mean, we have to buff this, we have to nerf this, and like things that on paper would make a really good fighting game are not things that always translate into a fun fighting game for everybody. So I think doing special moves out of Drive Rush is kind of a necessary evil in this game. And removing that ability, while it probably would create a more balanced game, I think it'd make a less fun game. So I'm going to say it's going to stay in. For me, grapplers would be clipped by this potential change. Yeah, that too. Some other system changes I would like to see changed. What was I thinking? Oh, this is a big one. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I play this character. I love this character. But I don't think any overhead out of a Drive Rush in this game should be plus on block. Guile's +1 here. I know Akuma's also plus on this. Juri's plus. Like, I don't think overheads should be plus on block out of Drive Rush. I think your opponent on defense, you should be rewarded for reacting to something and blocking the correct way. So I don't think your opponent should react, block properly, and still be left in a negative frame advantage. The defenders should be rewarded for a reaction check. Some other system changes. I mentioned Drive Rush, punish counter. I mentioned overheads being safe on block. But one thing I would love to see in this game added is one more defensive option, a system mechanic. Something other than just drive reversal. I know that was a drive impact, but you guys know what I mean. Another drive reversal style defensive move. I don't want to see them bring back like delay throw tech. Delay wake up. I don't want to see them bring back V shift. I want to see them put something new in the game, something interesting defensively that'll give you something to do to block certain stuff. Backwards Drive Rush. I mean, it was in the game files, wasn't it? Backwards Drive Rush could be a really big problem. I don't think they're going to do it. I really don't think they're going to give us a new defensive option in Season 3, but I think adding it would be cool. And then one thing I definitely don't want to see them add. I don't want to see them add new supers to the game. Usually I think new supers and like new level 1s, level 2s are really hype and really exciting for a game, totally. But instead of adding new supers to the game, I would like them to kind of rework how level 1s, level 2s, and 3 work. Like work in this game. I think right now the meta is getting really stale, especially for viewers, because it often feels like it's like last round, last match for tournaments. And basically both players or one player is sitting on level 3. They kind of sit on it, they sit on it, they sit on it, they land that hit, they get the level 3, you know. You get the hit, and then yeah, of course, they either win or you're left at a plus situation kind of near the corner, and you guess on a mix, you either go high, you overhead, you go low, you do drive rush, your opponent guesses wrong, it's over, and the crowd goes mild. I think level 3s are so incredibly strong in this game, especially like critical arts when you're at below 20% health. And it just becomes kind of boring to watch as a viewer, and I think it becomes a little bit boring as a player too to kind of want to wait till you get to your level 3 because the payoff, the reward you get for it, not just damage, not just Oki for some characters, but also drive gauge, the amount of drive gauge you gain and the amount of drive gauge your opponent loses. It's just so beneficial to hit your opponent with a level 3 or a CA that it kind of becomes silly to spend it in other situations. So I think level 3s, particularly CAs, are a little too imbalanced right now. I would like to see that changed in Season 3, where you get a little bit more reward or a little bit more incentive to spend your super meter earlier rather than always just holding on to your level 3 and just doing like resource dump. I would like to see that changed for sure. And I think that's pretty much it. Some things I don't want to see changed. I have no idea what's happening with the parry changes, so I'm actually not going to talk about perfect parry because we know perfect parry is changing, but we don't know how it's changing, so I'm going to leave that one alone. But I do think it's a little bit too easy to do right now. Too easy to get a perfect parry, or at least to get a random perfect parry. And the reward for the defender in that situation, not even defending, kind of like tapping it neutral. It's kind of weird. But again, if they added that if they added the punish counter change to like parry drive rush, and if you get hit out of that, there's a punish counter. If they added that, I think I'd be happy with that. And that would make a big difference. I'm going to leave you guys with this. My prediction for Season 3, I think Capcom is going to be conservative. Because the game is doing well. All the other games around them are kind of like blowing up in a bad way or like kind of shooting themselves in the foot. Maybe I'll be wrong. I kind of hope I am. But no matter what changes or what things happen with Season 3, I hope it just makes the game better competitively, better to play as a player, better to watch as a viewer. And I hope the game just continues to do well because I really do enjoy this game. And I think if you guys are watching this video, you do too. So I don't know, guys, what do you think? Do you like those changes? Do you think anything else needs to be done? Did I miss any big character changes that you think need to be applied to Season 3? But anyways, guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one. All right, everybody, take care. Peace.